Hey guys, Kurgan here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the timing of Surrender to Madness and what point in a fight you should use it. This is a really important part of Surrender, and it's what I left out of the Surrender guide which I made previously because I really felt it deserved a video by itself. So let's get right into it. So Surrender in its current form, and if you do the rotation properly, will last around 100 seconds. Plus or minus a few seconds if you mess up or you just get good RNG. Most of our damage also comes at the end of Surrender in the last 20 to 30 seconds when we have that power infusion and we have very high stacks. So what this means is that we need to be in a situation where we are dying exactly when the boss dies. That's when we run out of insanity. If you do it too early and you die early, well, you're going to be doing 0 DPS until the boss dies, and if you do it too late, you're never going to reach that maximum amount of damage you're getting from Surrender. Now, it's almost impossible to do this perfectly and die as the boss dies, but I'm going to show you 2 ways in which you can really estimate it to the best of your ability. The first way is definitely more reliable than the second though. The first way, and probably the most accurate way, is by looking at previous logs of the boss which you want to use Surrender on. An example which I'm using here is Croesus Normal. This is a short single target fight. It's a prime candidate for using Surrender on. And really the concept is really quite simple. You look at the kill time of your previous logs, and then you say, well, I'm going to be in Surrender for 100 seconds, so you just minus 100 seconds off the total kill time. In this example is 2 minute 53 kill time, and we say I'm going to assume that our DPS will be the same this week, and that means at 1 minute 10 I want to be going into Surrender. Now the problem with this is that you're not, unless you have an add-on that tells you how long the fight has gone on for, you're not always going to know when 1 minute 10 is. To kind of fix this and make it easier, we can instead use boss percentage to determine when we should go on Surrender, because almost everyone has the boss percentage on their UI. And to do this, we just need to go on the replay function, and then you see on the bar at the bottom here, it's got like a timeline, and you just can click on like 1 minute 10, that was the time we worked out, 1 minute 10, and it will show Croesus's health at that point in time, and that's 52%. So then we can say to ourselves, at 52%, that's when I want to start my void form for Surrender. Do remember as well though that DPS is never the same from 1 week to another, so you might have to look at your raid and say, oh, we're missing our top DPS this week. That means I might have to go into Surrender slightly later, so instead I'll do 48%, or you think we'll do even higher DPS this week, so I'll go in earlier at like 56% maybe. You do have to use a bit of your own judgment to determine when you go in. But this in general is the most accurate way of determining when to go into void form. However, you're not always going to have logs, and sometimes it might be progression, or you're just in a pug and you have no idea what the DPS is going to be. That's when this method is completely useless, and that's what my second method, that's what's going to help, even though it is much more unreliable. Okay, so what is the second method? What it is pretty simple. It's just a weak aura, that's all it is, and the weak aura estimates when the boss is going to die, like in how many seconds and minutes. Now you might be thinking to yourself, if there's a weak aura that simply tells you this, why do I need to look at logs? Well, the answer to that is because this weak aura is massively inaccurate. The weak aura assumes that DPS is kind of constant throughout the fight, and that's what it uses to estimate when the boss is going to die. But it's not that simple for DPS. You have execute DPS, you have burst, you have DPS that get their cooldowns up mid-fight. There's always this like peaks and troughs in DPS, and this weak aura just cannot estimate that. So it's going to be wrong a lot of the time. Having said that though, it is something you can use as an indicator, and it is way better than having nothing. So If you want the weak aura, I've got it in the description below, and feel free to use it. It's not my weak aura, just to say, it was provided by someone on the How to Priest forums, so I'm not going to take credit for that, obviously. Okay, so that's all I wanted to cover. Just to quickly sum it up, use previous logs of the boss which you're planning to use surrender on to work out what boss percentage you should be going to surrender at. If you do not have access to logs or just simply don't want to do it, then you can use the weak aura which I provided in the description below. You can also kind of use a combination of the two to try and sort of find the best time to do it as well. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you guys found this helpful. If you did, please leave a like on the video. Also, if you have any questions, leave something in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer it.